So I'd like to introduce them, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit about the purpose of this panel discussion. I will also ask first two questions, and then we will open it up to the audience to also ask questions or have comments. So please welcome Ken Teasley, Ariel Mars, and Patricia Children. The purpose of the panel discussion is to hear directly from people over the age of 50 who are seasoned, as that lovely lady said.
For saged.
Sage, yes. Feels very much like spices. Who are living with HIV and AIDS and or who identify as long-term survivors in terms of the challenges and successes of their lives as they age. So, what I'd like to ask each of the panelists, and thank you all for being here, is just some introductory remarks about how your life is today versus when you were diagnosed. And so we'll do a couple minutes each.
Good morning, peace and blessings. In 1991, my late partner and I, Keith Leach, we was on the methadone program, which saved my life. And we was told we had to take a mandatory HIV and AIDS test. And we both came out positive. And once went to the doctor told me I was undetectable then, and I'm still undetectable, which is a blessing. So, thank you. So what has changed for me now, Keith left me in 2008, and he had liver cancer. And also I'm aging, but I'm 70, so I mean, I'm blessed that God.
Wow, you look good for your age.
Thank you, I stay away from my in-laws. Both sets. So, my only difference now, I'm doing more traveling out in the country than when I did before. And I have friends I'm originally from Long Island, so I still have my friends that I know for 58 years. And I've been blessed to have great friends in this community.
Thank you, Patricia. Ariel?
My name is Ariel. I'm from Patricia, and I'm from Guyana, born here in New York. And to be honest, I was diagnosed in 2003, November, and I had educated about HIV and I did not get any advice. I did not have a psychiatrist or therapist. And I had a partner and still have that partner with me, which is a woman that I've married who stands by me always and still is. And when I come out to let her know that I'm trans, she paved the way for me to live on, especially when she heard that I didn't take it in hand in 2011, so I didn't have the education. I never was on medication. And 2011, I was fully diagnosed with AIDS, which I was losing all my senses, touching, hearing, feeling, seeing, whatever it is. I had nothing. My entire body was covered in rash. I thought I would have never stand up. But my lovely wife, Rihanna, who is in the audience, who was there with me, stand by me and tell me, we can kiss. And that was a blessing to have someone stand with you in this community. And when I come out and tell her I'm trans, I got a big applause from her and her entire family standing in the today.
Aplaudan.
And I'm so proud that I am alive and well. I wanted to thank
It has an echo.
Yeah, like an echo.
I want to thank GMHC for standing by me. When I first came to New York, I worked and I thought I would have migrated back home, but it didn't happen that way. I got sick. I was sleeping on the subway, and I met with BRC Homeless Resort, which helped me, provided me with HRA, and from then on, I got to meet with Trans Latina Network, which housed in GMHC building on 33rd Street. And immediately I got an intake done with GMHC. And from then I become a family of GMHC and the team of GMHC who I worked with for the past 5.5 years. And that is where I found love and find peace, happiness within that community. Thank you.
Wow, follow that. I was in the Army, and when I got out the Army, I decided to move to New York in '91. And by '93, I was diagnosed with HIV, and a couple of months later, I was diagnosed with kidney disease. One of the things that I wanted to do was I wanted to take care of my HIV and then let the kidney disease just take care of itself. One of the reasons why is because at the time people were dying in 2 years. So I thought I didn't have enough time to take care of the kidney disease. But one of the things that I found out was that because I immediately got into treatment. I was diagnosed at the health department. It was a situation that happened. I went to the health department. I was on my way out, and the doctor came up to me and says, "Oh, by the way, would you like to take an HIV test?" And I had been taking them, but I hadn't had one in a while. So I decided, I said, well, yeah, why not? So I took it, and it was like, wow. The day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. I went back, got my results. When I went home, my partner was kind of strange. I didn't tell him for a couple of days, but it just so happened that Philadelphia was on TV, and I just started crying. And he asked me what was wrong, and I told him. Now, the strange thing was, I was on meds, he was not. So he used to ask me all the time, what are you taking, what are you taking, what are you taking? And it's like, well, if you're not gonna get into treatment, then let me do my treatment by myself, and then you need to go figure out what you need to do. Well, come to find out years later, actually 6 years later, the doctor took me off meds, and one of the reasons was that I was on the new meds, which was the scarvedine and the lamivudine, and they didn't have names yet. They were called D4T and 3TC. While I was on them, the treatments would change almost on a weekly basis. I remember the first week it was like you take 2 pills in the morning, 2 pills in the afternoon. 2 weeks later it was 1 pill a day, and it just changed. But 6 years later they took me off meds. I was still undetectable for the next 17 years. By that time I was on dialysis for 5.5 years. I immediately signed up for a transplant. I wouldn't say immediately, but immediately after I started dialysis, I signed up for a transplant. If you've ever been stuck with those needles, then you understand why. And then 5.5 years later, the HOPE Act came into being, was signed into law by President Obama. It allowed for HIV positive transplants from an HIV positive donor to an HIV positive partner, or HIV positive recipient, and I actually became the first recipient here in New York.
Wow, congratulations.
Here at Mount Sinai. Through those 6 years that I had this transplant, right after my transplant, I did a video. And the video basically was telling people about the HIV transplants and all that stuff. You can actually still find this video on their website, on the transplant website. And according to the research team, it has prompted the most recipients out of all the states combined here in New York. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that right now.
So the first question I have is that we understand from GMHC's work with people over the age of 50 living with HIV and AIDS and long-term survivors that they may be socially isolated due to HIV and AIDS related stigma and have higher rates of depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and loneliness, just to name a few. Could each of you share briefly about your experiences with mental health and well-being? Let's start.
I'm not lonely or alone. I do live by myself, but I have friends that I know since 6th grade, 58 years. Twice a year, I go out of this country with them, and then I go visit family members down in North Carolina. I'm involved with 8 cousins in the genealogy project because I'm so wrapped up in it, and I'm going back to Charlotte, North Carolina in August. And I went back to 1798, and on my dad's side, and the genealogy went back further. But being HIV positive, there's numerous, not organizations, but clubs, and so-called like PWN, Positive Women Network, USA, in New York, et cetera, that women can be involved in. Plus, I have 3 daughters, and I'm blessed to say they all have their master's degree, and I'm the grandbaby. And then I'm very close to family members. The only thing that I do, I'm used to being in a relationship. I was with my husband, the children's father, for 11 years, and then he 25 years until he died from liver cancer, from Hep C. That part, I do miss companionship. I do miss somebody else's credit card. And I do miss driving. You know, I've been driving since 16. I had to start driving because I don't have a license, and my daughter's a police sergeant, so I have to get rid of her. I think the only thing now that's bothering me, and I'm gonna leave it there, my mother was the second of 5 girls, and they all died at the age of 69, 70 years in the order of their birth. And when I told the doctor, she said, "Ooh, Patricia, that's so eerie." Like, oh, is it? So when I turned 70, and for a couple of weeks, I went through private health. But I take care of my father's side, look like them, act like them, and I got the mental illness. So thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Again, material, and to be honest, I didn't take stress too on, especially because I had someone who was very close to me. And to help me with that, I had a kid that I adopted from 10 days old. And that kid actually be my eye opener. And because of that kid, I survived. Because I think with all I had my partner, I was still had like in and out vision, and I would keep drinking and smoking cigarettes. So I had extend, and wherever I drink and I sit, I sleep until I get up. And it was really a dilemma for me at some point in time. But that kid actually opened the eyes of me, and I said, if I really have to take care of this kid, I have to stand up for her and let her respect me for who I am and love me. So because of the love from that kid, I did not take stress as an answer. I do what it takes to make me happy. The only thing is that employment was bad home, and I choose to be a vendor on the market. And I start walking, selling, and making my life happy. My bills was really high, but whatever I was due, and I was doing to make my life easier by vending, I create so much, and I got so much love from so much kids from my village. Just that I never mentioned about my positive life. I had kept that a secret, especially because when you were HIV diagnosed and people knows, it would have been much more shame for me to deal with in the village, and it could have put me to suicide. But I know suicide would have ended my life, and I said this would not take me down, and I'm not walking that road. I'm going to walk a road, hold my head high, and take care of kids in my village. I sell all year and save whatever extra I have, and at the end of the year, I'm skinny, but I'm a Santa Claus in a big fat clothes. Every year I'm donating my little earning back to kids in my village by providing sweets, cake, soda, and even meals to them for 5 weeks before I migrated to New York in 2017.
Well, I think from the beginning, most of those services were there. I think the first time I went through to a social worker, I wanted to talk to somebody, and I ended up in therapy for a minute because it was there. The insurance gave you 6 sessions a year, so why not take advantage of them? So I took advantage of them. But like Ariel was saying, I didn't tell anybody about me being positive until I actually, at one point, I went through a program that was actually designed to be a vocational rehab program for people with HIV. It was called MTS, Multitasking System. And it taught you how to be an administrative assistant. And I turned that into a computer trainer where I trained at Bailey House. And one of the interesting things is that all of my students were Black and brown people. And that put me in a better place because I was teaching other people to do what I had just done, or I had just finished 2 years earlier. Since then, I have gotten into other areas, especially more importantly, the kidney community, where I sit on boards and as people usually say, you need to seat at the table. I hear a lot that people like us are not at that table. I'm at that table. Whether it's with CMS or NCC or any of these other people, I'm sitting at that table trying to get better services for people like us. And I get a lot of pushback from other patients a lot of the time because I'm always talking about HIV, and they don't understand that if I don't talk about HIV, I can't talk about my transplant. So you're gonna hear it. You're gonna keep hearing it as long as I'm here. So thank you.
My second question, there continues to be a myth that older people or seasoned people, sage people, don't date and don't have sex, including sexual intimacy. We're going there. You know. There are even medical providers who don't want to talk about sexual issues with their older patients because they may be uncomfortable with you. So could each of you comment about your experiences possibly with these issues?
I work for Settlement Health Medical Services. I work with the doctors, and I'm a peer educator by choice, since I'm always traveling, privately. Our doctors do discuss, but I always tell, because I work with the patients, I see the patients before they see the doctor. Ask the doctor. The doctor's human. There's times he or she may be tired or she forget. Now, Keith died in '08. And for those who are around, who are close to me, knows some reason I'm still talking about him, wherever he is. So, I don't date, and then when I discussed the sexual act, I always said, I don't wanna have sex, I wanna make love. Because making love is different than having sex. I did that when I was young. I wanna make love to a partner, somebody who I care a love for. So until then, I have a Denzel in my lingerie drawer. And it works for me, and you know, call me names. Don't fall asleep on me, you know, say, yo, baby, how many times did you go? And I can do it during commercials, go by looking at Law and Order.
That's great. I'm actually gonna second you on that. Because, to be honest, I think sex is just a passion. For me. As long as I have someone I connect to, can love me for who I am, and we can just hug and chill and be in bed and just be a romantic couple, I would take it where it goes. But sex is just a passion. If you don't have feeling for it, then you can't go for it. And I will take it that way, short and sweet, and I just love it that.
I kind of have to be diplomatic with this answer. My partner for the last 14 years is sitting out the audience, so. When we were younger, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a night, different people, and you finally get to that point where you have to find somebody who's gonna love you for you, not just love you for what you can do. And it took me a long time to find that person, and it's been 14 years now, and sex is not the most important thing in our lives. The most important thing in our lives is that we're together, we love each other, and we support each other in everything that we do. And he's actually my biggest supporter. Thank you.
Thank you all for your courageous replies. So what we're going to do is, we are now going to open it up for comments or questions. Please be brief, because I know that there are probably a number of folks who would like to ask some questions or offer comments.
Thank you, Krishna. So we have one question here, and because we are virtual as well, we are going to hopefully take some questions from panelists attending virtually.
Hi, my name is Tamara Rodriguez. I'm a care coordinator at New York Presbyterian Hospital. And I love talking about sex with my patients. I do an assessment when I talk about sexuality. They really do not talk much about sex, but there's a question, and how is their sex life? A lot of them tell me that they are not having a sex life. Yesterday, a patient told me that she felt dirty, and that she hasn't had sex in many, many years. And I hear this all the time. She said she used to have a relationship with a man who was really, really dirty. He was a drug addict. He didn't brush his teeth. A lot of bunch. I was just like, girl, how are you having sex with this man? She said, it was just sexual. I needed that at that time. Today, she said she feels dry overall, not just her vagina, but just overall dry. And she just doesn't have sex anymore. She doesn't have any desire for it. She doesn't want it. I talk about masturbation. This is not only about the physical contact with somebody else, but one thing that bothers me a lot is that you lose intimacy. People don't have intimacy. People do not have that connection with another human being at a different level, than the level that you have with your children, with your mother, with your brothers and sisters, but that love and affection that you can have from that other significant person in your life. So it's more than sex that you lose with the stigma with HIV.
Thank you.
I'm going to give a little bit of it. Honestly speaking, I'm not someone who is like a big sex addict or anything, and I've been through a lot. And myself and my partner, although I was diagnosed, we still used to have sex without a condom. Is that I can really take the scent of the condom. So we used to, and I'm so happy that my partner is still on the still not positive. They are negative. Although I was diagnosed with AIDS, my partner still did not contract that disease from me, and that was really up. But when I come to New York and I've learned about this, and I'm afraid of getting involved or getting involved with prison, with something I didn't want to, I decided to step back from sexual act. And that's one of the reasons why I stepped back. I was always feeling that what you said, my partner is feeling it, because they do not want to go out anywhere else to have sex with someone else. They just decided to be there for me, taking care of me. I asked them, I said, this life is mine. I can go out and do stuff, and you can go out and do stuff, and we can still be the love partner at home. And they said no. And that's how we live on. And we love each other, and that's what matters.
This one is short and sweet. From my understanding of the question, I think that she may need counseling first to see what's going on with her, and then have a physical to see whether or not, with GYN, to see if she's going through menopause. Because your Aunt Tilly or your grandma can tell you, you have to go and take a physical with the doctor. And she sounds like something I did in between my husband and me and Keith when there was drugs, sex, and Led Zeppelin. But after a while, I wasn't fulfilling any needs. Where I wanted somebody to hold me, they were getting the benefit. And so I think it's my personal opinion. I'm not a doctor. She may need counseling. Talk to her GYN to see if she's going through menopause, and then maybe she can find a great partner. Everybody's not compatible, which is sad to say. You may have a great partner, but he may be tired. And I've noticed there's still in any group throughout the years and talking to old friends, there's still women afraid to make the first step. She may be old fashioned, but there's women that, they want to do missionary style, but they want more from their partner, but it's giving him or she less. But I would start with therapy to see what's going on with her.
And I also wanted to add that it also may have something to do with the time of diagnosis. I know at the beginning of mine, I didn't want to have sex with anybody because I didn't want anybody to do to me. I didn't want to do to them what they did to me, which was not tell me that this was going on. So that might be another thing to check out.
Thank you for your question.
Yes.
Another one? Oh, hi.
My problem is GYN. I agree with everything what everybody said, and it's different level. But for me, I'm looking, as a matter of fact, I need somebody to let me know what GYN I could go that help me as a woman that not to be having a dry vagina. Because I tell them everything, what you say, I could tell the doctors. But that's the problem, and we don't know. As for women, they're more concerned to having babies. When I having my children, I could talk more. But now in my state, only sexually, because my kid, they big, my grandkid, is gonna be my sexuality is zero. Zero. That is my problem. The intimacy, I know how to pick men, but my fun is my dryness. And I cannot find no GYN that I could deal with.
Talk to me afterwards. I work for Settlement Health Medical Services. I have one for Dr. Ted.
Okay, thank you. I think that she mentioned something. Did you work with somebody else to do this?
Yeah, we have GYN.
You can give me the information. I prefer that for everybody because I'm very collective. But unfortunately, right now, I have to think
But
about
also, too, there's a menopause study. Albert Einstein has that, so maybe you need to do that also. Because I did it last year.
Information for you later.
No problem.
Thank you.
We have a question here, and then we're going to go to virtual questions.
Okay. My name is Louis. I'm going to be 68 next month.
Wow, you look good for your age.
And I still have sex like crazy. And, you know, I'm not going to stop. And, I thought we were going to have, you know, a session about having sex, you know, older guys, safe sex, whatever, because I'm sure that there's a lot, I'm not the only one that's having sex like crazy. In my old age, during COVID, I got on Grindr.
Wow.
Yeah, because I said, okay, so can't meet them outside. And I never did that. And people talk about intimacy and sex. I just want somebody to come and touch me and I touch them and get it over with, because love, that's out the door at my age. All I want is sex. So we should have a topic about older people having sex, getting it on, because there's a lot of us.
Wait. Okay, before we go to virtual, one more question, because this sparked up some, you know.
I love what he said, but it's a part of that I can't disagree because that's his lifestyle. But sex is not. I love the intimacy. I love all that. I'm 65.
You look good for your
And
age
I have
too.
someone in my life that is 30 years different than I.
Oh, wow.
And we have sex all the time, and it's intimate. It's according to what you want to look for in your life. And you can find them on every corner. It's some that want to take you for your money and that credit card. And there's some that want to be really involved with you because they need nurturing from a different standpoint. And I've been around the block, yes, I've been in all the bathhouses, all kind of things. But I have 2 children. One is 45, and the other is 43. I have 4 grandchildren, and I have 4 great-grandkids. And they all respect me. And I have 12 brothers and sisters. They all respect me. They live by what my lifestyle is like. And they like what I'm about because I'm always giving to the community. I'm always sharing everything that can possibly move you forward financially. I get gratification from having that partner because I know who I'm looking for. He knows my standards. He knows who I am. He knows my bank account and that credit card. and his family knows who I am, and we all are one big happy family. Yes, the depression comes because, you know, listen, we all used to be a stud, whatever we want to call it, back in the day. I'm an image of that. I'm a fume of that. But what people are looking for is someone they can love, nurture them, and guide them, because they don't get these things from home, because most things at home is dealing with, I'm religious as anybody else in this room, but some of these platforms criticize us very badly and put us down. And sometimes certain platforms, that's all a minister can talk about. But what I don't hear, and in our community, how can I pull myself up from the ground level and enter into that platform of where it's a financial stable position? Well, GMHC, it's been a blessing for many people. But now what are we doing that is going to pull you forward? It can be, this young man here's real estate, it can be cryptocurrency, it can be any venue, but yes, they're all risky. So is your sex life is risky. Just walking out this door is risky. Canada already gave us an invocation that they don't want you gay men and gay women walking down the street naked. So we got the smoke going on. So everybody we wrapped up, you can't get out for 5 days, for a whole month. The gay month gonna be gone. but I'm just shortly saying that love, you can find it anywhere. Sex, you can find it anywhere. But that compassion is a whole nother story.
Thank you.
To provide us with that question, but first I just wanted to note that our department, especially my colleagues, Ms. Denise Drayton and Ms. Victoria Graves Cade, do a really awesome job doing workshops about sexuality for seasoned adults. You should attend them, and potentially you could come to your organization. We'll see if that's possible. But it.
And 52 is not for me, because I'm feeling young as everything else.
We have another question here.
I'm sorry, can you?
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
Okay, and then real quickly.
Personally, I don't feel old. I'm 56. I'll be 57 next month. I don't feel old. I've never felt old. Even when GMHC started offering the Otago exercise classes for aging with HIV. And I just decided that I wanted to go see what this was because, I was 55. That's pretty much it. I did stop going to the club because, you're looking at 20-somethings and you're sitting there and it's like, you have all the older people sitting at the bar and all the other younger folks are on the dance floor and singing around the piano. So, I don't know where I fit. So I just don't go anymore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Angela here. I have a little suggestion in regards to the female part of it. I'm not an MD. As a woman, two things. Dryness of vagina happen after a certain time. Most of us don't like to talk about it, but it's real. And the other thing, most of us, I heard the new name is seasoned, but I still stick with the older. Women, we are a bit restricted when you come on to intercourse. And let's split the difference about sex and lovemaking. We have the intercourse part of it. Women, I'm not going to speak for the men. Let me speak with the women. We need to move away from our restricted personality into pleasing our partner. We need to do that. And we are seeking the love and the intimacy, but most of us don't want to give it. Why? I know because I was in a setting where I heard men spoke of what us women are lacking of. Come on, most of us don't want to talk about oral sex. Men love it.
Yes, I do.
Say it louder. Say it louder.
They love it. And if we don't give it to them, they're going to go here.
Say it louder. That's my girl.
We need to be more exposed and experienced.
That's my girl. Yeah.
Brush your teeth and kiss your man. Kiss him. They love it. They love the tongue. Rub a little something funny on the navel. The men, they love it. Tickle them. They love the nipples. They have nipples.
I love her.
We are just about our breasts. What about the men? They have it too. Kiss them over. Kiss them over. And that is why some of the men, they just dig down and just jump because they're not getting what they want. And so they will leave us in bed, all wrapped up in our fancy lady there, so in here, and they leave and they go on the street. Why do you think some of us end up with HIV?
Say it louder.
He went out on the street. He was so horny, he didn't have any condom. Come on, ladies, I'm speaking to you. Angela Mackenzie.
Dime aquí que le voy a dar un abrazo a ella. Le voy a dar un abrazo a ella. Que no tenga
My name is Tony, and GMHC is my family. I used to work here. And there's not an event that I will never support them. But when you're talking about intimacy, you know, when this sister was talking, right, and the gentleman said it's just about sex, to me it's not. Intimacy is very important in a relationship. It's you and I getting to know one another on various levels, right? So when it comes down to intercourse, I love sex. I am 62,
I love this
and I
girl.
love getting it in.
These are my ladies.
Right? But I have one partner. I don't believe today, in my age, I believe in being in a monogamous relationship. So there's where the importance of intimacy becomes. I get to know his body, he get to know my body, right? We was talking about menopause. Look, I started that 25 years ago. I did it early. So I know about the dryness, but guess what? He knows my body. And being that he knows my body, he know what to do to make it. Okay?
I love
I'm a
this.
little dry.
I love her.
You
Yeah.
take care of it. Right? He a little limp. I take care of it. It's about making it work. Right? Relationships are about being cohesive. Look. Okay? My partner is older than I am. So he tells me stuff like I'm getting older. I ain't got nothing to do with that. Right? You better figure that out. Because my desire is not to go outside of my relationship. Right? Not in this day and age. I'm positive, he's negative. He loves me for who I am. He made his choices. And thank God, one of his choices was to be with me. Right? So, I mean, it's nothing about fear in here. We're all adults. I see you, Krishna. It's nothing about our fear, and I'm just thankful that we're able to have this open and honest communication with one another.
Thank you, Charles. Meredith mentioned that Denise Drake and myself, we do season adults, and we talk about sexuality, we talk about having these conversations. Our generation didn't have these conversations, but they're important to feel comfortable. We all got here through sex. So I'm really glad to see this robust conversation about it, because, and just self-disclosure, and I'm gonna get off. Being a seasoned adult, I enjoy sex so much better than I did when I was a younger person. And I get it in as well with my partner of 31 years. So it's so good. We definitely will talk about this more. We do have 2 trainings where we talk about it. So go to our website and come and join us. We talk about having sex and being a seasoned person, having good sex. Yeah, as a peer facilitator, and I have a women's group, and they said different things. And I always, when I speak, I keep it on me, and I notice that there's some women who are shy, and some women who are not shy with their partners. I always recommend sit down and talk to your partner and see what he likes, and let him see what you like, and then maybe do some role playing. You know, it always have to be in the bedroom. You know, and please don't do like my brother-in-law told me, my sister did, that every night she will go to bed with my holy undershirt. I can relate, it's comfortable, but it's all about you knowing your partner knowing you, and this role play, maybe get some books, look at a good sexy movie, and go to bed dressed like the way you would dress if you had to go to work with pride.
I would actually say because you have to know the feelings of your partner, why does your partner know the feelings of you, because it would never happen without the truth.
We have another question,
Yes.
Krishna? Yes?
No, I don't know.
No.
I'm asking, oh, you do have one, okay.
I just want to start by saying thank you so much for this healthy conversation about sex and sexual pleasure. I think that's really important, and to normalize that. We're all people and talk about our bodies for all people, particularly those of us living longer. I actually did have these conversations when I was young, so I appreciate my mom doing that and that you all are continuing to do that. My question is about how we are, and folks want to talk about some of the ideas of which they're erasing stigma, which is still happening, and it's a big thing. You know, there's these new diagnoses between MSM 17 to 24, and so working about that in terms of stigma and aging, living longer, and stigma, sex, and living with HIV. What kind of conversations that you have with regards to that, and people are doing, you know, talking points around that.
It was not easy. I'm facing this for too many years, and that's one of the reasons why I come out on Pride, Queen's Pride, and this year, and I actually gave a story to newscasts because I think I was stigmatized too many times, and it was not easy for me, especially coming out as a trans individual, and people stigmatize you because as soon as someone sees you as trans, they said you're a sex worker. No, we are family. We don't bear kids, but we took care of kids sometimes better than some real parents do. Amen. And we love ourselves as we love thy neighbor.
Okay, we have another question here.
I only got the question to show you how old I am.
How you address
Stigma.
Yeah.
That's not in my vocabulary at all, and I always say, I don't give a, excuse my French, rat off who knows I'm positive. I don't have any doom and gloom stories about me being HIV. If anything, it's been a blessing to me, not a curse. So I don't address stigma, I don't even talk about stigma. Half the time, I don't know how to spell it.
Nowadays, it's more of, keep talking because it's free advertisement for me. Yeah, that's it.
I just wanted to also put in a plug that at GMHC, when I look at it as stigma as being multi-layered. So we're talking about stigma and HIV, stigma and sex, stigma and race. It's multi-layered. If you're an immigrant and you have disabilities, I mean, it's just layered and layers and layers. And so we do a lot of work through social media, heard about the trainings and discussions that we have, and we just have to, my feeling is we have to be consistent and constantly, whenever there's an opportunity to have a conversation, even if it is uncomfortable, and to look at creative ways on how we address the multi-layered issues connected to stigma.
So, Greg Barkell, I work at SUNY Downstate, based work at GMHC. Tanya Taylor had asked a question, or I brought something up earlier, and she just wanted me to clarify something about ageism. Because she wanted to say that she's heard that many older adults, one of the worst things about aging with HIV is the loneliness. And that stems from the ageism that is pervasive in the healthcare industry. She said, it's defined as systemic stereotyping and discrimination against people because of that they're old. And that as we are aging, I'm a person aging with HIV, I'm 53. And usually when I say I'm 53, people will say to me, you look good for your age. And I automatically am like, well, what am I supposed to look like? So things like that. So when we think about aging with HIV, it's not just about there's all the isms. There's the heterosexism. There's the racism. There are so many things that are involved with aging with HIV, but we don't think of the ageism and how it is in society today. As we get older, people just think we shuffle off into the sunset. That we're just going to get older and we don't have sex. that we don't have fun, that we're just gonna go and play, you know, parcheesi or whatever you do when you get older. I don't do that. I have sex. You know, so my life is just as full, and I imagine it'll get fuller, and you know, I work with people who have full sex lives, and they have full lives, and they do many things. But people, society in general, look at people who are getting older, that we're just not significant anymore. And I think that was what Tanya was trying to get to, is that we have to look at HIV and aging with this ageism aspect in it, and we have to challenge our healthcare providers to make sure that we're advocating for ourselves to get tested for things. I work in a clinic, and I work with many people who they have to advocate for themselves to get tested for things, make sure that they have all they're getting their liver enzymes checked, and because they won't do these things, and their bodies will, you know, they just keep giving them medications. So I think that's what Tanya was getting to. What do you think about that? Like, what do you think about ageism as an issue within this field of aging and HIV?
The only thing I could choose, 1999, my mother-in-law died, and in 2002, we went to visit Keith's father, and I brought him condoms. He was 86 years old. When we found the letter that he wrote to some female who was 35, 37. So after Keith had a conversation with his father and found out that he was doing a lot more than Keith and I did in 2 years. So I don't, now since I'm up there and I'm talking to my elders, you know, I don't really dwell on, and I'm 70. I don't hear myself saying I'm an old person, so certain things are limited, you know, not at all. And then since I am a peer educator, that gives me the freedom to ask my friends and my relatives who I associate with questions that they normally wouldn't, you know, ask themselves and think about, because I'm curious. I'm inquisitive. My kids say I'm nosy, but I'm inquisitive. So I don't know, that, you know, people put too much emphasis on, you know, old age, and we don't do A, B, C, and D. When I go to Barbados, I still climb a tree, and it's kind of hard coming down.
Is there one more question? And then
Yeah,
we're gonna wrap up?
we have like 2 quick questions from the virtual conference. The first one is directed at the panelists who are currently living with HIV. A attendant wants to know, how are you dealing with the comorbid conditions, aka heart disease, kidney disease, possibly diabetes, or even mobility? How are you handling those day to day?
And then what's the second?
Yeah, so the second one is Dr. Tanya Taylor quoted the late Steve Karpiak, who is my former boss. He said, "I've heard many older adults say the worst thing in the world is to feel abandoned. Even more unsettling is hearing for them. There's something worse, like AIDS, like loneliness, and a lot of them saying, you abandoned us, you saved our lives, but at what cost? You gave us extended life. But in turn, there's still impoverishment, rejection, ageism, stigma. We gave people living with HIV a pill and then said goodbye to them." So with all that in mind, Tanya wants to know, like, how do you think that this has all impacted care and treatment?
Those are not quick questions.
You got 2 minutes.
All right, yeah, how do you deal with other, you know, ailments, as my mother used to say, and, you know, the comorbidity. What was the thing?
Yeah, I'm kind of condensed because that's a long.
Yeah. Other health-related issues.
The only thing
You mentioned kidney disease.
The only thing that bothers me, besides my in-laws, is my menopause. I'm going through post-menopause, and I'm in a study. And from my head to my neck, I sweat. And I mean, I'm so used to it, I don't notice if people tell me something. So far, I'm blessed. Everything seems to be A-okay. So, but if you can have a magic pill for menopause, please tell me.
Do you want to address the kidney disease ailment or other? Oh, I'm sorry.
As for me, to be honest, I've been through several other side effects, and it was like my kidneys, my liver, and so many others. But since I started taking my meds the real way that I'm supposed to take it, there's so much out of me that actually disappeared, that I'm getting really good response. Since I'm on big therapy for the past 6 years, I'm feeling much better, and that medication really helps me and put me on this map to stay alive, because back in my country I was on Truvada and Triphala, and it was not helping me. It was just depressing me. And since I got in New York, my life has become such much change, and I see so much difference. And there are no like such things like all these side pains I used to get anymore. And I'm feeling blessed now because living with it for 20 years, it's like I can live another 20 years, even more. I'm feeling the same way. Thank you.
All right, Ken, you got the last word.
Wow. Because I've been living with both of these for 20 years now. Sorry, almost 30 years now. Before, when I was younger, everything was up in my head. Now that I'm seasoned, everything has to be written down. Now we have cell phones, so I can keep stuff in my cell phone. There's a lot of new technology out now that can be used to do a lot of stuff, and I try to make use of every bit of it that I can, if I can learn how to use it. But once I learn how to use it, I can, I just received a message from one of my social workers on my mic chart. So yeah, use these things. Keep up with your appointments, all of that stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give our wonderful guest panelists a round of applause. They're very brave and honest and beautiful and wise. And so I know we didn't get to answer the other question that was at the end, but let's do this again sometime soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Krishna, and thank you, panelists. Yes, we can hear you just fine, Crystal. Thank you.
Super. Well, it's wonderful to be here.